Hello friends, welcome to this video session on Bama's Karukku, the explanations of the chapter 3. This video is part of the discussion of Karukku, the novel, autobiographical novel written by Bama and which is prescribed for the paper compulsory foundation course in English, the English language paper of 4th semester BCA, BSc at Mangalore University. This video is the continuation of the video made on the chapter 3 which discussed the opening part of the chapter 3. Let's continue the discussion of chapter 3 here. In the last video, we were introduced to intercast disputes and it was the dispute between the Parayars and the Chaliars, and there came the entry of the police who when a Chaliar who lodged the complaint against the Parayars, the whole community for that matter, regarding the issue of their intercaste dispute. The police now are charging the Parayars men's and the members of her Bama's community. So here it is Bama's grandmother Patti who comes home and she clears Bama's doubts as she returns home at night that the incident was happened for what reason. And she told them all that the Chaliars slaughtered sheep and arranged a feast for them, that is to the police, without counting costs. You see, as we just towards the end of the last chapter made a mention, the Chaliars were rich enough to offer some bribe or something to the police and take their support. It so happened here that they have slaughtered some sheep and they gave a grand feast to the police, and because of that it is the police force who is with them to fight against the Parayars. It seemed they had taken oath to destroy the Parayar boys. See the way perception is made here. The Chaliars have made a oath, have taken a oath that they would destroy the Parayar boys and trouble them to that severe extent. Accordingly, the police beat up every single one they caught. They whipped the arrested men like whipping animals. It was so harsh that we saw in the last part itself. The men were crying and women were also having heard that they were crying inside the house. That means, see, they whipped the men, whipping, chautina, right? Hodiyuvanthaddu. So, batongalana balasi, lathi charjana maduvanthaddu, whipping like animals, giving them a tiny bit of ragi or cholam gruel as food. Yeah, at the lock, when they are locked up inside the prison, inside the police station, they were given only a bit of ragi, right? A tiny bit of ragi, some salpa ragi or cholam gruel, right? Or cholam, or maize, or corn gruel ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗಂಜಿ, right? Porridge, ಅದನ್ನ food ಹಾಕಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. And if their men were rich or upper caste, or the police were obliged to them in some way, it was only a couple of light taps. See the way approach differs from that. Bama attacks on that very point. If they belong to some upper caste, if they were rich, then the treatment of them would have been different. So it's like a kind of a question on the very hypocrisy being followed in our system. Anyhow, then again, the police atrocities on them continues. You see that this chapter is an evidence for the way police imposed their power and the way they heaped abuses on the Parayar men and the way they punished them in an inhuman manner. The uncertainty in their release continued. The men who were arrested already by the police, it was uncertain that when they would come back, and their survival itself was there, sought and questioned. And the night filled with fear, therefore, as the police walked around there, they were that step of the police walking there, their boots, that caused the tension or that caused the fear among the people sleeping inside, or they cannot sleep even they were inside the house. The next morning, a midst of the police continued prowling round as if to gather up every one who escaped. Yeah, there are some men who escaped, so they were searching for those escaped men. They were prowling here and there, right, walking here and there, wandering in that spot itself to find out them. The news heard in women's whisper that a certain Alphonse was severely beaten up that he is unlikely to survive. So you see the example of a person who is about to die or in the verge of death due to the him beating, the police beating. It's the baton of the police that is the death rattle to him, right? That is causing the death of him. Then, so in the North Street, there is another incident that she takes up to prove that police atrocity on their men. In the North Street, a 5 rupee note fell out of the pocket of Mariappa's son. There was a person named Mariappa whose son, a 5 rupee was there inside his pocket, which fell out of his pocket while he was being beaten up. A police was beating him. His mother went to collect it because the money was precious for her, and even that was the need for them, right? So she went to collect that 5 rupees. The policeman put his boot on her stomach and kicked her aside in the same street. You see the way things happened. He kicked her aside, right? ತನ್ನ ಕಾಲಿನಿಂದ ಬೂಟನ್ನು ಅವಳ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆಗೆ ಇಟ್ಟು ಒದ್ದು ಆಚೆ ಹಾಕುವುದನ್ನು ಬಾಮ ನೆನಪಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ. In the same street, they caught a teacher and thrashed him soundly, though he pleaded he would not stick his head into such things. See, that teacher is innocent. He was not guilty of these kind of things. Still he pleaded, requested the police that his involvement is not there. Still he was punished. Thus, you see the continuity of inhuman treatment of the people belong to the poor community here, right? The police boot approached them too. Everyone ran away. Bama too went hastily and locked the door. Now you see nearing of the police boot. Dear students, literature provides ample examples where these kind of fear or these kind of atrocities are practiced, and it gives a warning that this anarchy should not come again, right? Because we have one such example from Diary of Anne Frank, which a little girl of 14 years expresses in her diary, takes down, makes the point of those Nazi authorities atrocities over them. It was during the era of the Hitler's rule. He had the decision of extermination of the Jews. Anne Frank was a Jewish girl hidden behind somewhere. She was writing or pointing out the harsh moments, harsh truths of Nazis' extermination mission. And later her diary itself becomes a very good document which shows those horror of Holocaust in Germany. So similarly, you can see here an account of that is provided by Bama, how people were beaten, how people were punished, and ruthlessly they were treated like even lesser than animals. Then the police began to enter their houses. Now the police are nearing. Why I mentioned Anne Frank? Because in one of the chapters she records the way the police from the Nazi authorities nearing her house, the way they are walking, the sound of their steps that causes fear or arouses tension in her. That is what the same incident here, right? You can see the police entered their house. The Pallar men betrayed the Parayar by tipping off the police that some of the men escaped or inside their houses. Another instance of lack of unity. Remember, dear friends, divided we fall, united we stand. Wherever we are, as a country, we need to unite together, not as individuals, fragments within the country. It is a case, therefore, by taking a micro example of a novel or incident of a village, you can draw a macro lesson. This is an example, right? Here, they are divided because you see the Pallar were against, they gave the hint to the police that the Parayars, some Paraya men who escaped were inside the house. Therefore, now the police started searching inside their houses. Their door banged. Now somebody came to Bama's door also. Their door banged. When opened, the headman leapt inside and hid himself there. No. So it was a case of a headman, the head of their community, who leapt past tense, leapt inside and hid himself, hide is present tense, hid past tense, he hid himself there. His mother begged them to protect him, right? So that headman's mother came to their house and begged them, Bama's member of Bama's family, to protect him particularly. They felt trembled from hearing their men screaming in pain as the police struck heavy blows. It was heard everywhere, right? The police were beating them like anything, heavy blows on their backs and in other parts of the body. It caused them pain and they were screaming, right? Bama felt she felt trembled, or the people of that locality felt trembled to hear all that. 10, 12 police in the meantime entered their house too. They made a search, caught the headman, and they rained blows upon him. Then Bama mentions that severe movement, harsh movement in page number 39. What do you observe here? The leader of a community who has to hide here somewhere and cannot come in before them and cannot talk to them or question their atrocities. This is the situation where the poverty and helplessness needs to, right? A helplessness situation due to the poverty and the indifference of the whole law system towards a community. That is what she is trying to question throughout the novel. So in the meantime, you see how women become victims. Atrocities were also against the women. She mentions some examples here. In spite of the atrocities, few women hid and saved their men, sometimes telling lies. There are some, women have some courage or some kind of techniques to hide their men. They did it. At each place, the police behaved deplorably towards them. Women hid them, right? Somewhere, some side, inside a sack or inside, behind, inside a room or somewhere, right? We have one incident that somebody who kept her husband inside a sack, bag, ಒಂದು ಚೀಲದ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಅವಳು ಕೂತ್ಕೋತಾಳೆ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಬರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅಂಥ ಇನ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟನ್ನು ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಸೊ ದ ವೇ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್ ದೇರ್ ಮೆನ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು. At each place, the police behaved deplorably towards them in a very insulting way, used obscene language. See, ಅಸಹ್ಯವಾದ ಭಾಷೆಗಳನ್ನು ಬಳಸ್ತಾರೆ. swore at them, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಅಬ್ಯೂಸಿವ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಬೈಗುಳಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಬೈಯುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಕರ್ಸ್ ದೆಮ್, ಬ್ಲೇಮ್ ದೆಮ್, ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ ದೆಮ್, ಅಬ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ದೆಮ್ sexually also. I mean, using harsh, indecent words. They insulted them, sexually too. It was a sexual harassment, kind of incident. And thus there was a kind of, atrocities against the women too. Then they were not even left out of the atrocities. Some scared women even left home to sleep at the church, at the courtyard and at sunsets. See, they were not ready to stay at home because of the fear of the police. They even left their home and they went to stay at the church. Bama's family stayed at home without having no option because the little children were there, right? So the younger brother and younger brother, the twins, younger sister were there at the home. They cannot bring them to some other place and stay there, right? That's the situation. We also remember the absence of Bama's father here, right? He was working in the Indian Defence Force, right? He couldn't come and join them ಅನ್ನೋದು ಕೂಡ ನೀವು ನೋಡಬಹುದು. The police were furious and harassed the women who continued the work and took care of their children even without their men. See, women had the courage to face the situation. They became active. They worked for the survival of the family. They started working. They earned and they supported their children and men, and they had to bring the food to their family. They continued their work, but the police hated them for this work. A parish priest informed the police about some men hiding in church just beneath belfry. Right, you can also see the way people lead, contribute to the atrocity against a helpless community or a very marginalized, subjugated community of that part. Even a parish priest supports the police. There was no kind of mercy over the people who belong to their own religion because they are also Dalit Christians. He did not care for that. The police went there and grabbed them and dragged them bodily through the Chariar street. What an insult to them, right? They were dragged them bodily without wearing any dress. They were dragged on the Chariar street. Thus you see the height of atrocity was committed against the Bama's community. So Bama is trying to give this as a micro incident, and I mean an incident took place at her village, but it is at the macro level, dear students. We see so many incidents where across the country, sometimes across the globe, where people are treated so brutally and atrocities or punishments are made against them because the authorities have power. Such a kind of thing is questioned here by Bama, and she not only questions the ill treatment of the Dalits, but the treatment of human beings by anybody like this. It's a question on the way humans are treated. Anyhow, Bama takes this incident as a fight between the Shaliar and expose the rivalry between their caste at the beginning, and then she makes an irrational attempt to expose the way police involved in the atrocities against their community, and how caste class based dispute led to even caste class based partiality with the entry of the police. And the chapter also presents the atrocities and abuses heaped upon the women by the police, and questions it rationally. How women becomes, I think, the three type, thrice oppressed in society. The one hand they are oppressed by the men, the other hand they are oppressed by other caste men, and again the oppression by the authorities here. Bama replaces this with the oppression she receives from, ill treatment she receives from on the ground of religion. So three types of ill treatment she receives, that is based on the caste, class, and again from the religion. So anyhow, thank you for watching. We will continue the discussion of chapter 3 in the next video. See you in the next video.